Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Representatives Baum, Camper, Freeman, Gant, Hawk, Hazelwood, Lynn, Ogles, Todd, Whitson, Williams, Wendell, Chairman Hicks.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. I'd like to call the Finance, Ways and Means Subcommittee to order for March 2nd, 2022. Members, any announcements or personal orders at this time? All right, seeing none, we have a total of 16 bills on our calendar today, so we're going to get started with item number 1. Without objection, we're going to roll this one 13 spots. So without objection, roll 13 spots. Brings us to item number 2. Item number 2 on our calendar is House Bill 1713 by Speaker Pro Tem Marsh. There he is. Do you have a motion and a second on House Bill 1713 for a quick description?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. I like that.
Yeah, I was going to say.
This bill comes to us from the Comptroller's Office. This is a very good bill. This bill makes government work better for allowing the Utility Management Review Board, the UMRB, to initiate either a consolidation or a merger among utility districts that benefits the ratepayers of a financially distressed district. Before the UMRB can finalize the merger, number 1, a feasibility study must be completed that recommends the merger. Number 2, a public hearing should be conducted in the financially distressed district. And number 3, the UMRB must make a determination that the merger is in the best interest of the ratepayers. Furthermore, this bill clarifies that the Utility District Revitalization Fund can be used to mitigate short-term financial impacts from a board-initiated consolidation or mergers. With that, I'll answer any questions.
All right. Members, you've heard the description of House Bill 1638. Any discussion? Representative Todd. I'm sorry, 1713. I jumped ahead. Again, that's House Bill 1713. You've heard the description. Chairman Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sponsor, does this in any way expand the authority or legal reach of utility districts or energy authorities in the state? And I asked that question because there was testimony yesterday in another committee. Actually, we had a hearing and it was reiterated something that I learned quite a while ago that I was very astounded at, and that is that our Public Service Commission doesn't really deal with these public entities. They're excluded. So just concerned that there might be some expansion of their authority here.
Speaker Pro Tem.
To my knowledge, it does not. All these entities are controlled and audited by the Comptroller's Office.
Thank you, sir.
Representative Wendell.
Mr. Chairman, would I be out of order if I recognize some young bankers from Livingston, Tennessee in the back of the room?
Absolutely not.
And they're, for the record, they're all honors graduates of the Millard Oakley School of Banking. And they're visiting here today with the young bankers. Welcome.
Thank you. Speaker Pro Tem.
And I'd like to also go out of order just a little bit and introduce the Bedford County Farm Bureau boards up here today, watching their representative do a fantastic job.
All right. Any other discussion? Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Speaker. This bill does not require the merger. It's just giving them an option, making it available if they're so distressed that they need to merge, but it's not requiring. There is a feasibility study. Am I correct?
That's correct. That's correct. And the financially stable utility does not have to take the distressed one. They both have to mutually agree to do it. So it's voluntarily.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you. Members, further discussion on House Bill 1713. Question's been called. Any objection called on the question? Seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 1713, moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr.
House Bill
Chairman.
1713 moves to full finance. That brings us to item number 3 on our calendars, House Bill 2044 by Deputy Speaker Johnson. Sir, you have a motion to second. You're recognized on House Bill 2044 for a brief description.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2044 would change, at the present time, automobile dealers can issue a 30-day temporary tag which is, it costs $5.50. They can renew it once, pay another $5.50. This just simply extends it to one plate for 60 days for $6.50.
All right, thank you for this description. Members, any discussion on House Bill 2044? Question's been called. The objection called. The question. Seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 2044. Moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 24 moves to full finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee.
All right, that brings us to item number 4 on our calendar is House Bill 2005 by Chairman Crawford. Sir, you have a motion to second. You're recognized on House Bill 2005 for a brief description.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee. I think I've spoken to about everybody about this, so I'll make this very brief if I can. This particular bill deals with the reciprocity issue. I had a constituent that come into my area who was a 30-year licensed massage therapist in California, and she was hired by a company in my district. And when she got here, needless to say, she was very surprised when she found out she could not practice in the state of Tennessee. We allow surgeons and doctors and stuff to come in. We recognize them, but we can't recognize massage therapists. That kind of seemed wrong to me. So I told her I'd bring this bill, and what we've come up with is asking the Tennessee Licensed Massage Therapist Board to come up with a temporary permit that would allow them to practice for 6 months until they could take the MBLE test or the NCB-TMB test. Those are the things that are needed to practice in the state of Tennessee.
Yeah, we have a motion.
I'll be standing here for questions.
All right, thank you very much. Members, you've heard the description of House Bill 2005. Any discussion? Question's been called. Objection called. The question. Seeing none, hearing none, we're now voting on House Bill 2005, moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 2005 moves to full finance. Chairman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And let me take just a second. I have with me one of my city aldermen from Bluff City, Tennessee. He's with me today. I'd like for y'all to make him feel welcome. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, committee.
I didn't see Jeff Burrell sitting back there. Good friend of mine as well. Good to have you. All right, members, that brings us to item number 5 on our calendar's House Bill 1872. That's by Chairman Hulsey. You have a motion to second. Sir, you're recognized on House Bill 1872.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. House Bill 1872 deals with a bill that was passed back in 2011 by this body called the Retail Tourism Development District Act. And it provides that certain portions of the state sales tax are allocated and distributed to municipality or industrial development corporation that finances the development of an extraordinary retail tourism facility. There were 3 such facilities in Tennessee. Bristol was one, Kingsport was one, and East Ridge was one. And Bristol did quite well, and East Ridge did quite well. Kingsport is not so much. So they have asked me to ask you to extend this retail tourism bill for 5 years. And that's what the bill says.
All right. Thank you, Chairman Hulsey, for this description. Members, any discussion on House Bill 1872? Seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 1872, moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1872 moves to full finance.
Thank you, Chairman and committee.
All right, that brings us to item number 6 on our calendars, House Bill 2196 by Chairman Kiesling. There's Chairman. You have a motion to second. You're recognized on House Bill 2196 for a brief description. Before you get started, Chairman, it looks like there is an amendment that needs to be filed, drafting code 014371. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct,
All right.
Chairman.
You have a motion to second on the amendment. Would you like to give us a description on the amendment?
Yes, and the amendment makes the bill, I might add. But the subject here is
Well, Chairman, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and get it on. That way
course.
you'll be ready to roll after that.
Please.
All right, members, any discussion on amendment drafting code 014371? Question's been called. Objection called. Question. Seeing none, we're now voting on amendment 014371 to House Bill 2196. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. We're back on the bill as amended, and now you are recognized.
All
sir.
right, thank you, Chairman and members for that. This bill, the subject here is quitclaim deeds. And actually, it was brought to me by both the Register of Deeds Association and our Tennessee County Officials Association. I might add, later in the process of sitting down with them, we also included the Land Title Association. So all have come to the table, and through everyone's cooperation, we've come up with this amendment that hopefully, and let me just explain, the intent of the bill is to remedy a situation which one refuses. A situation in which one refuses to record a document or to pay the transfer tax on a quitclaim warranty deed, despite the Department of Rev's rule. And I'll pause there and just say that it is my understanding that the department has deferred in this or is neutral. I'll continue. There have been instances where people have refused to pay their transfer tax, citing the fact that this is not mandated in code. So the registers are seeking to change that to further avoid any similar instances from happening again. Most of you may know the register down in Cheatham County has been very active here, Mr. Patrick Smith, and I want to thank him for his assistance in the drafting of this language as well. So with that, Mr. Chairman, we'll entertain any questions members may have.
All right. Thank you, Chairman Keisling. Members, you've heard the description of House Bill 2196 as amended. Are there any discussion? Seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 2196, moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 2196 moves to full finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members.
Thank you. Members, that brings us to item number 7 on our calendar, House Bill 2183, which has been requested to be taken off notice. So without objection, House Bill 2183 off notice. That brings us to item number 8 on our calendar, That is House Bill 1745 that has been requested to be taken off notice. So without objection, House Bill 1745 is off notice. That brings us to item number 9 on our calendar, House Bill 1767 by Representative Gillespie. You have a motion, a second. You're recognized on House Bill 1767 for a brief description.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee. This is a truth in sentencing bill specific to aggravated assault and aggravated robbery. It would just require that if convicted, the person would have to serve at least 85% to 100% time. And with that, I welcome any questions.
All right, members, you've heard the description of House Bill 1767. Any discussion? Seeing none, House Bill 1767 does have a fiscal note, so we will have to put it behind the budget and consider it at a later time. So without objection, House Bill 1767 behind the budget.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to item number 10 on our calendar. Item number 10 is House Bill 800 by Representative Griffey. I do not see him. We will roll this to the heel of the calendar without objection. So move. That brings us perfect. All right, that brings us to item number 11. I think item number 11. That's right. House Bill 1833, again, item number 11, House Bill 1833 by Representative Hall. That's been requested to be rolled 1 week. So without objection, rolled 1 week. That brings us to item number 12. Item number 12 on our calendars, House Bill 1721 by Representative Reedy. I do not see him. So without objection, we're going to roll House Bill 1721 to the heel. Without objection, so moved. That brings us to item number 13. Item number 13 is House Bill 1921 by Representative Wright. Do not see him, so without objection, we will roll House Bill 1921 to the heel. That brings us back to item number 1, is my understanding. So all right, that brings us back to item number 1, and I'll give Chairman Todd just a second if he needs to get prepared. So item number 1 on our calendar is House Bill 1638, and that is by Chairman Todd. So Chairman Todd, you are recognized. Is there a motion to second? I think I already heard one. We do have a motion to second. You're recognized. Looks like there is an amendment that has been filed, drafting code 014647. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
You have a motion to second on the amendment. Would you like to describe your amendment?
The amendment makes the bill.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get that put on. Any discussion? Seeing none, we're now voting on Amendment 014647 and being put on to House Bill 1638. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. We're back on the bill as amended. And, sir, you are recognized for a brief description.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This amendment clarifies that the Department of General Services can still do their normal maintenance and upkeep with certain notice requirements. The bill as presented is presented on behalf of Speaker Sexton and myself as a member of the Capitol Commission, and it's being brought to clarify that the legislature is in complete control of the second floor of the Capitol building.
All right, thank you for this description. Members, any discussion on House Bill 1638? Seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 1638, moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1638 moves to full finance. All right, and Chairman White, I missed you sitting out there, so we're going to pick you up next, and that is going to be on the addendum. That is going to be item number 15, which is on your addendum. It's going to be House Bill 2703 by Chairman White. Do we have a motion to second? We do have a motion to second. Sir, you're recognized on House Bill 2703 for a brief description.
Thank you, Chairman. And members, the genesis of this bill on filing deadline day, Senator Wally came to me and says, I got a bill and I can't find a sponsor, so I told him I'd be glad to carry this one. And it's a simple bill. All it does is when teachers go through all their training to get their licensure, evidently they're not given a certificate that they can frame. And so this is requires your full name, date on which your certificate was issued, and some data like that, so they can get a certificate and frame it and put it in their classroom so their kids know that they're licensed. And that's basically what it does.
All right, thank you, Chairman, for your description and your honesty. We appreciate that. Not that quick just yet. Members, in discussion on House Bill 2703. Seeing none, there is a cost associated with House Bill 2703, and I think, as you can see, Chairman Whitson is ready to go to help support this bill, but we're not ready just yet. So,
well, he had the 10,000. He was going to put that in for me.
Well, we'll let you all work it out as we place this behind the budget. So, without objection, House Bill 2703 will go without objection behind the budget. All right, and that brings us to item number 16 on our calendar, also by Chairman White, House Bill 2088. We have a motion to second. We do have a motion to second. Sir, you're recognized.
Thank you. Now, this is a bill that I really am glad to carry. The state of Tennessee, we have two universities currently. One, the University of Memphis in West Tennessee, one in ETSU in East Tennessee. These are universities that have training schools for teachers. Most of them were set up like 100 years ago. And so they have a K through 12 schools on campus to help train teachers, plus for the students in their area. And so currently they are able to contract with the LEA in which the university is located. This will allow them to take what their knowledge and what they're doing to other LEAs across the state, and they can contract with any LEA in the state. It's permissive. It had to be an agreement between the LEA and them, but to expand what they do in their training schools for teachers in K through 12 setting.
All right, thank you very much, Chairman, for this description. Members, any discussion on House Bill 2088? Chairman Williams, you're recognized.
Thank you. Chairman White, the question is, I think there's one other institution, it's a private institution in the state that has a K-12 campus on campus. Would this apply to them at all, or only to state institutions?
I believe this would be state institutions. That has not come across the, but it's an LEA, you're the first person who's asked that. I ought to check that out.
Let the record reflect the Education Committee did not do its job. No, I'm just kidding. No, the reason why I'm asking that, I think it's important that we look at the private institutions that also have these K-12. I may do some research if the chairman is okay with it to see if it's something that they want to do. I think I am going to support the bill. I think it's a great idea to do so. So, anyways, I just didn't know. It doesn't specifically say based upon the verbiage that I see, but I didn't know if there was Huh? Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Members, Chairman White, you
And
recognize.
thank you. I would agree with you. It does say these current training schools are public schools, so but it's not a bad idea.
All right, thank you, Chairman. Members, any further discussion on House Bill 2088? Seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 2088. Moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 2088 moves to full finance.
Thank you all very
Chairman.
much.
All right, members, that's going to take us back to item number 12. Item number 12 is going to be by Representative Reedy. All right, give us just a second here. So item number 12 on our calendar is House Bill 1721 by Representative Reedy. You have a motion to second. You're recognized for a brief description.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. Of course, you know what happened with the flood in Humphreys County, and then not long after that, it was the declared a disaster with the tornadoes in West Tennessee. I guess the help that I've got from the state treasurer and the comptroller when those took place, what did we do in the past for citizens of Tennessee? And then it was the 2010 floods here in Nashville, and then it was the more recent, the fires that damaged in Sevier County. And that's where this bill come from. It just kind of reflects what we did for the folks there. The first half of it, of course, is permissive. If you see that in the fiscal note, the amended portion of that is really specific to the city of Waverly in Humphreys County, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you very much, Representative Reedy, for this description. Members, any discussion on House Bill 1721? Seeing none, House Bill 1721 does have a cost associated with it, so it still has a little work to do, but we look forward to helping you out as much as we can. So with that, without objection, House Bill 1721 will go behind the budget. Without objection.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. All right, members, that brings us to item number 10 on your calendar. And I apologize for skipping around a little bit, but we're trying to be as efficient as we can. So item number 10 is House Bill 800 by Representative Griffey. You have a motion. Is there a second? You have a motion and a second. You're recognized on House Bill 800. And, sir, it looks like there is an amendment that has been filed, drafting code 13143. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. There's also another amendment, number 012729. 012729 changes the effective date to July 1st, 2022. And amendment number 013143 changes the implementation of the bill so that it would not apply to textbooks or instructional materials purchased only applies to textbooks and materials subsequent to July 1st, 2022, if I explain that correctly. It gets rid of the physical note, what it does.
All right, thank you. And Representative Griffey, this particular amendment actually rewrites, so we'll just go with this one. So you have a motion, a second. You've heard the description. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, we're now voting on Amendment 013143 to House Bill 800. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill, we are now back on the bill as amended. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. What House Bill 800 does, it would limit materials, LGBTQ materials that normalizes, promote those materials out of our school curriculums. I think this is an issue that parents have approached me about. They think the entire sexuality of our children should be something left up to parents and not something that's promoted or dealt with in our school system. We got to focus on reading, writing, and the core basics of education in Tennessee. So that's what the bill does.
All right, members, you've heard the description of House Bill 800 as amended. Any discussion? Representative Freeman.
Thank you, Chairman. When you just said that, you said promote or normalize. It also says support and or address lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender lifestyles or issues. What's the problem with that?
Representative Griffey.
I don't think our public schools are the place to deal with sexuality of our children. I think those should be dealt with at the home and with parents.
Representative Freeman.
So a book that discusses sexuality or love or normalizes a heterosexual relationship is an issue for you as well? So Romeo and Juliet say that is about a love story between a young man and a woman. Do you have an issue with that?
Representative Griffey.
I don't have an issue with it, but my constituents indicated that they have a problem with the promotion of the LGBTQ lifestyle in our schools. They feel like it's kind of indoctrinating them, and they feel like they are the ones that should discuss those issues with their children and decide them.
Representative Freeman.
So nationally, 35% of transgender teens, 23% of lesbian, gay, bisexual teens have attempted suicide, compared to 6% of heterosexual teens. And it is proven that the suicide rate is more than twice for LGBTQ youth who attend a school that does not affirm their lifestyle versus the other. And I just am, I'm embarrassed that we're talking about this today. And you can read about LGBTQ books and issues all day long. And are you afraid that it's going to turn our youth gay? Is that your fear?
Representative Griffey.
My position is many parents have approached me and are concerned about this issue. They feel like our public schools are not the place for these subjects to be discussed, and they are worried about indoctrination.
Representative Freeman.
Well, I just, we used to we used to legislate bigotry in a lot of other areas, and I'm really disappointed. And again, I just want to make sure that we all understand exactly what we're talking about. It's adopting or using a textbook or instructional material that promotes, normalizes, supports, or addresses the lesbian, gay lifestyle. It's not encouraging, which is what you're talking about, that we're going to encourage that lifestyle. What this is it normalizes it. And I would say that it is normal.
Representative.
You're certainly entitled to that opinion, and I think many of my constituents and Christian parents would feel like this is not bigotry, but this is what God has intended for how man and women should live in the world. They have that belief. They share that belief. We don't get to teach religion in schools. The LGBTQ, you can't point to a genetic DNA marker that says someone's going to be gay or not gay. A lot of people feel like it's a belief system. So why should that belief system be allowed in school when Christianity values or Bible system shouldn't be allowed in school, or any other religion? Schools are not the place for belief systems promotion, regardless of what it is, other than the American system and capitalism.
Representative Freeman.
Yeah, I just again, I'm disappointed. If we have a book that has two men that are in it, that would normalize, in my opinion, and I think that's totally fine. And if we have people who are in fact gay and lesbian committing suicide at a rate of 3-4 times what heterosexual kids are, they just want to be accepted and loved. If my children decided that they were born gay, I would love them just the same, and I would want them to see our community and our environment and society accept them for who they are. And you removing the ability of them to see themselves in books, in their libraries, is no different than not allowing minority groups to not see themselves in the libraries. And there is not one bit of evidence or fact that proves that reading about a gay lifestyle is going to create someone, have someone become gay when they get older.
Representative Griffey.
You've just proven my point. You've said that, what's wrong with having this LGBTQ books promotion in our schools? Why do we need it? That's my question to you. The school should be teaching reading, writing, life skills. This is nothing anti-LGBTQ, We're not against anybody. If your child or any child engages in that behavior, you know, I'm going to love them regardless. It's not anything anti-gay. We just feel like this is not an appropriate topic for schools. And I don't think most parents want this in our public schools. That's what it comes down to.
Representative Freeman.
Last one. I disagree that that's what the intent of this bill is, and I'm not going to debate you on that. But there is a lot more that we see in our libraries that has to do with reading and writing. There's arts and humanities. There are beautiful love stories that you can read about. There are historical, there's fiction, there's nonfiction. There is a lot more, and not including a major a group of our community in those libraries to be able to be seen and supported is I believe a failure if this passes. So I've said my piece. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Representative Freeman. Any further discussion? Again, we're on House Bill 800. Chairman Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I support your bill, sir. I've had a lot of input from constituents in my district as well, and they seem to overwhelmingly support this, and I appreciate you bringing it. I think it is something that this topic and the promotion of this behavior, as you say, is appropriate in other venues, but not in school. The schools have, I think, gotten off the rails with things like this, and we need to get it back on the rails. Where the outcomes of our students in the state are showing that, and it's time we show the taxpayers some better return on their investment. I think this is a good first step. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Todd. Further discussion? Seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 800, moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 800 moves to full finance.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, committee.
Thank you. All right, members, that moves us to item number 13 on our calendar. Item number 13 is going to be House Bill 1921 by Representative Wright. You have a motion and a second. You are recognized for a brief description, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. What I have brought forward today in House Bill 1921 is that Staff Sergeant Ryan Christian Knaus, the last soldier killed in action in Afghanistan, be memorialized in the designation of portions of State Route 331 and 131 in Knox County at Gibbs High School in his memory, and I ask for your kind consideration.
All right, members, thank you for that description. Members, you've heard the description from Representative Wright on House Bill 1921. Is there any discussion? Question's been called. Any objection to calling the question? Seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 1921. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1921 moves to full finance.
Thank you,
And
Leader.
members,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee.
Thank you very much. Members, let me just remind you that on any of these items that we have on our calendars throughout session, if you would like to be recorded as a no to make sure and that you have been, just please do check with the clerk to be sure that you've been recorded properly. All right. Is that good? Okay.
We are now on item number 14 on our calendar, House Bill 2027 by Chairman Hicks. Motion. We have a motion and a second. Chairman Hicks, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair Lady. Members, House Bill 2027 would provide an $800 training supplement for licensed emergency medical personnel who are employed full-time for an ambulance service upon completion of 40 hours of annual training.
Are there any questions of the sponsor? Good tries from both my left and the right. However, there is a significant budgetary impact, and it pains me to say this, but we will have to go, Mr. Chairman, behind the budget.
Oh, that was
a Hicks handle right there.
ouch. Members, I think that does complete all of the items that we had today. Is there any other business coming before the committee? Seeing none, without objection, we do stand adjourned.